In the name of Heru, in the name of Ogun, and in the name of Osset. Now, I'll come to you today to talk about miscegenation. Now, we know that it is a sin. There was a preacher on YouTube, a white preacher, who said he will refuse to conduct any type of marriage ceremony between the races, between black and white. Some people say, oh, that's wrong for him to teach the truth and his belief. Now, why are black people more in favor of miscegenation? Because they have a low opinion of themselves and they think that getting a Caucasian or an Asian is a prize. And as one black woman said who woke up somewhat, she came out of an interracial marriage, and she said she always thought that the Caucasian man was the prize, and she found out that she was the prize. That's to take more cognizance of themselves, to know themselves. And then there was the bachelorette by the name, I think, Rachel Lindsay. And she said, at age now, she's 35, and she said, before a black person go into that contest of the bachelor or bachelorette, they have to know themselves. Now, she is an attorney, and yet it seemed like she did not know herself. And then there was a couple on YouTube, and she was a doctor, a Nigerian, and she was a medical doctor married to a Caucasian. And she stated that in Nigeria, because everybody was black, she did not even realize her blackness. So she did not know herself. And she went through a lot of mental anguish in Germany, where she had to give up her medical practice because of racism. So there is educated fools. It could be a lawyer, it could be a doctor, and yet be an educated fool. Now, this is the truth that will set you free. That's why I call upon Ogun, I call upon Heru for strength and severity, and not Amen. Amen is for mercy, for my personal reason, and the people I love, I will call upon Amen. But for the world and the judgment of the world, I call Amun. And I call upon Aset. She is love and wisdom. There is love without wisdom, but she represents love with wisdom. And so it's my love of the truth, my love of my people, and not just wild love. Because this woman called Nap Cream, 26-year-old, beautiful woman, but love overwhelmed her, the feeling of love, where she was with this guy who is a clear psychopath, and he abused her, and yet she went back or allowed him to come back to her. So there was love, but without wisdom, almost a death wish that some women have, a death wish that they take abuse like a penalty for what? So there is love. For as you see the couple on YouTube, and she seemed to be in love with the white guy. and he with her somewhat. So that is love without wisdom, though. As love without wisdom that is destined to fear you and mental anguish. So we have to call them divine wisdom or Set and her sister, Nephhed, divine understanding, and lean not to your own understanding, because many of her subscribers, I think her name's Adana, are Black American, and evidently have to be a woman who subscribed to the swirling or the miscegenation or interracial romance. Not a Black woman, and a Black American woman is without excuse. Because we have to be woke up instead of self-hypnotizing themselves. And even Caucasian people, they they're on hypnotism because she was a doctor with a stethoscope and scrubs on, and yet they consider her a cleaning woman. So there was what they call negative hypnotism, where they ignore what exists. And Amos Wilson spoke about negative hypnotism and positive hypnotism, where you could be hypnotized to see what do not exist. You could say that that's a table in front of you when there is no table and you believe it is. But negative hypnotism, where a person could be hypnotized to ignore what actually exists, to do not see the truth. So we are under mass hypnotism, where we are denying what is before our very eyes. So we have to get out under that spell. And look like African are under the most mass hypnotism, even more so than Black Americans. They're the one more apt when given the chance to swirl, not only with Caucasian, but with Asian too. In America, Black American women are not thrilled about Chinese men, but in Jamaica they are. So this ignorance has to go, and your eyes have to be woken up. Now, in the book of Numbers, there's a chapter here about Balaam and Balak and the talking donkey, where an angel was standing with a sword in front of Balaam. And it goes, Numbers 22 chapter. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyard, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side. And when the heirs saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself unto the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. That is, Balaam was on the ass, the donkey. Now the ass seen it. The dumb ass seen the angel, but Balaam, who's supposed to be so powerful, where he can curse and bless, didn't see it. Okay, let's start at the 20th verse. And God came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, if the men come to call thee, rise up and go with them, but yet the word which I shall say unto thee, that shalt thou do. Now this is Balak, who wanted Balaam to curse the people that came out of Egypt. But Balaam could not do it because he said God would not be with the curse. It said, and Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass and went with the prince of Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. But he told him to go. So how could he be? He told Balaam to go, and then he got angry when he went. And the angel of the Lord stood in the way for adversary against him. Now, there's a lot of angels who seem to be adversary against me and who use people, foolishness against me. Now, he was riding upon his ass, and his two servants was with him. He was riding upon his ass, and the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass and turned her into the way. Now the ass seen the angel, but Balaam did not. So the ass was saving Balaam. Okay, now I'm going to skip down here. And Balaam, on the 29th verse, and Balaam said unto the ass, because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in mine hand, for now would I kill thee. He would have killed the ass. Now, and the ass spoke and said unto Balaam, am not I thine ass upon which thou hast ridden ever since I saw thine until this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, nay. Okay. And okay, you go back there on the 31st verse. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam. 31st verse, chapter 22. And he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. And it goes on and on, the story about Balaam, the angel, and the talking ass. And it's an interesting homily, a story of wisdom, because our eyes are closed. The Lord has to open our eyes that we may see, and we do foolish things. But this is a time of judgment now, where foolishness will not stand. Our man was in our life. He's the Lord of judgment. He's the nectar of mercy. Even through the Kemetic people, or the Mizraim, who later they call Egyptian. Egyptians are Caucasian people who came after Mizraim and Kemetic civilization fell. So if the Egyptians say they're white, you can't argue with them, because that was after the decline of the Kemetic civilization, where the Kemetic people in Mizraim fled until the southern part of Africa and the eastern part and the west. That's who we are. But anyway, I said that. And then came the Caucasian people and the Arabs. And the Arabs are now still there. But they are not the original people of that land, now called Egypt. It was Mizraim. But anyway, they say that our eyes have to be open where we could see. There's people swirling, not knowing themselves, not being themselves, not heeding the truth. And like Balaam, the eyes are shut. But now our eyes are being woke. We are waking up to the events going on now today. This is unlike the 60s. This is the final warning. Unlike the 60s, which was a similar wave of awakening. This is the final awakening now.